Has the construction mafia reformed in KwaZulu-Natal, and do you believe that indeed they are now playing a legitimate role in the transformation, or is it just mere extortion? What are your thoughts? 011 072 1105584. That is where you can send those messages, or otherwise tweet us tonight at Newzroom 405. Now, relations between the construction industry and so-called business forums has now stabilized in KwaZulu-Natal, so it is reported. This follows years of disruption at the construction sites by questional formations demanding a slice of the cake for their communities. It's estimated that the mayhem cost the industry some 27 billion rand in lost infrastructure opportunities. And now these KZN business forums seem to be playing a critical role in stakeholder relations management. But is it all rosy as it looks? Joining us now to share their perspective on this particular matter is the South African Forum of Civil Engineers Contractors CEO, Webster Mfebe, who is with me in the studio. And from Durban, we have Malusi Zondi, the president of the Black Business Foundation, formerly considered part of the KZN mafia. Gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for your time and for joining us tonight here on In Focus. Ndaba, good evening, and thank you very much for coming through as well and being a part of this conversation. Maybe we can begin with you. The Black Business Foundation, how reformed are you? Many are saying it sounds like a wolf in sheep's skin. On the surface, you portray yourself as promoting legitimate community interest while you continue with your extortion methods where black-owned businesses have experienced disruptions, intimidation, and in some instances, violence.
Thank you so much. Greetings to you and greetings to our big brother Webster Mfebe and the society at large and the viewers. No, thanks for the opportunity. I think first, my name is Malusi Zondi, the president of Black Business Federation. You see, people sometimes will just speak. People will never appreciate good things that we come up with. But I understand it's not just anyone, generally. It is those who are doing white-collar crime themselves, who will have that narrative to say, we are this, we are that. We will never apologize for what we have done before. Maybe I have to begin there. We were just people who are young, some are women, youth, people living with disability, who wanted a piece of a pie. We just wanted to participate in local areas where there were developments in our own areas without a significant participation. The areas that we live in have got councillors. They've got municipal directions. You see, if people just come in areas and they don't appreciate that they are engineers local, they are young people who are trained, young people who are skilled, and women who are playing a fundamental role in empowering themselves, it becomes a chaos. So ours was to appreciate that people want opportunities. However, we have said as Black Business Federation, we are now tired of those who want to hijack a good struggle, a struggle of a black child who wants to participate meaningfully into a mainstream economy compared to those who want to go on such and want to extort. So we are against that. We have said we want to make sure that we bring investors in KwaZulu-Natal. We are faced with lots of issues in KwaZulu-Natal. We have COVID-19 that came in. Floods currently are leaving people with numerous hideousness. There are no jobs. People are suffering. All what we want now is to protect investors in KwaZulu-Natal and nationally and make sure that the economy grows.
So, Nondaba, from what I'm hearing you say, your aim and objectives are still the same. They've really not changed. As the Black Business Federation, you are still with the objective of lobbying government and businesses to win recognition, particularly for Black Africans to gain economic emancipation. So those aims and those objectives are the same. So what has changed? What have you done as a federation to align your members to, for example, this new image that you're saying you are now portraying, or this new role in community that you're playing?
Before, what we used to do is to mobilize the society against developments which were not transformed. Remember now, we are in 9 years after. after 9 years, all what we have done have significant changes in people's lives. People have been trained. Some who are not trained, we are saying they have to be trained. So it is not correct by now to see people who are doing the same things that were done before. When we see people galvanizing on site, demanding, we are saying those people do not belong to business forums anymore, because their business forums currently that we lead are business forums who have been trained, are business forums who are clear in terms of their CK documents, are business forums who know what they want, are not just business forums who only want money without working. Currently, that's the transformation, and that's how Black Business Federation has changed. We have made sure that the social facilitation and stakeholder management we are doing. We go on rural areas. We make sure that the communities, before developments come, are aware.
Yeah.
Because most of the times, communities were unaware of these developments. But those who want to act in manner of tagarism are the ones that we are eliminating.
Mr. Mfebe, you have, of course, been in such arrangements and negotiations with the Black Business forums in KwaZulu-Natal in the construction sector in particular. Some agreements were reached, but there were also splinter groups that broke away and continued to conduct the same activities that you were trying to deal with. However, overall, the sense is that violence and intimidation has decreased in the construction sector to an extent. Is this an indication of an acceptance of the systemic extortion, or is there a fundamental change that is happening on the ground?
It's not the exception, the exception of the extortion. No one in their right mind can accept extortion. It is illegal and it should be dealt with the full might of the law. It is the acceptance of the change in strategy in terms of ignoring communities and community-based organizations' grievances by genuinely attending to those problems. In the past, when people have grievances and communities, they will be just labeled as rowdy communities, thugs, and leaders pontificating, sitting in their air-conditioned boardrooms, not engaging with communities. This has been the failure of leadership, not to engage with communities and understand the content and the context of their grievances. Our strategic engagement with the Business Forum has borne fruit, and in fact, I commend the Black Business Federation under the presidency of Malusi Zondi for living up to their promise, which they made with me in 2017 and thereafter, where we agreed that the best course to take is to work legitimately within the law. And of course, there will be doubting Thomases who would want to perpetuate this narrative that people do not reform. In order to break the cycle of violence in this country, you need conscious and effective leadership that engages consciously, genuinely, and bringing opportunities to those who were denied in the past. That is the path that we're taking. And demonstrably, there is a decrease. Of course, there are splinter groups indeed that are competing for the space. We talk to BBF to say, who are these people? Can you intervene? They go in, engage with them, and facilitate the engagement so that those things do not continue to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, as you hear BBF saying they will not apologize for the actions of the past. They were doing that really for the transformation of the sector. However, you yourself have cited the kind of impact that this has had. One, delays in terms of delivery of a number of important infrastructure projects. But even more of a concern is the demise of a number of businesses, Black-owned small businesses particularly, that have suffered at the violence and intimidation of the so-called business forums, which were styling themselves as a little bit of a mafia operating there, demanding 30% of the cut. What of those businesses? What should happen? What recourse do they have?
Well, they know the recourse, and we have been telling them that they must report the cases to the police, get case numbers, bring interdicts, and bring those to us so that we bring to the attention of the police. We have since escalated those matters, and they are now on the radar of the National Police Commissioner. As we speak, there are special task forces that are being established across all provinces to deal with this matter. And my appeal in that regard is for our members to use these structures to report. But for this to be successful, we must join hands and take the hands of forums like BBF to be part of finding the solution to this problem. Yeah. If we sit around the police as they purport, and I believe they've demonstrated that, to be part of the solution, they must be part of sitting around the table. You cannot talk about people when they are not involved. That is the apartheid strategy of the past. We must constantly engage people and not talk about them, for them, on their behalf, in their absence. We need to engage. Some of the people, they just talk. They're desktop researchers. We've been in the dungeons. We've been in the trenches, meeting with people who are considered dangerous. But what we found young, angry youth who are yearning for a cake, an economic cake in local projects. But we guided them to pursue a legal route, which they have done. And they will be judged by their action. It will be their problem if they get their fingers again in the cookie jar in terms of what they were doing in the past. They themselves propagate for the arrest of those who violate the sites.
Nondaba, speaking of getting their hands in the cookie jar, people are looking at this and saying, well, some of these people who were involved in site invasions, you have now incorporated into BBF. They're actually part of your members. Some are still reported to be using strong-arm tactics. In fact, the Umgeni water project of 2021 is one that is cited to say these were some of your members that were still using some strong-arm tactics to get a piece of the pie there.
No, that's a lie. It's a white lie. You see, people when they are speaking, they must base their engagement and their narrative on facts. It's a lie. Again, you must remember where do we come from. We are coming from a very bad, serious struggle in South Africa. We were colonialized. So we can't say people who were arrested before for different reasons. Currently, if they are part of a society, they must not be incubated. It's our duty because they are going to do wrong things. What we have done as PPF, when we deal with stakeholder engagement, is to go to communities. Within the communities, there will be those, obviously, who will be seen as if they are notorious. Yes, before they've been part. But what we have done as PPF is to teach them, educate them, induct them, that if they continue the way they were doing before, they are chasing away investors. You see, we are faced with serious unemployment as we are speaking. It is not nice. When we are telling people who are conscious, then those people will tend to understand our story. You see, when you go to Umgeni Water, we have created as Black Business Federation, quantified, factual, more than 1,200 jobs alone, because we have lobbied, we have advocated, we have made sure that the community feel the sense of ownership in the projects that are coming to them. It was never done before. Big contractors were just coming in, taking the money and going out, doing projects which are not even financially beneficial to the society. You will find now when we go to those projects, the big contractors are now conscious. They will build schools. They are going to build roads voluntarily. They are going to even contribute through their CSI programs. And further to that, they are now interested in enterprise development. It's something that is there. The regulation demands. But people were so naive. They were so highly ignorant.
Seem to have lost there, Nondaba. We'll bring him back in just a moment. That is, of course, the president of the Black Business Federation, Malusi Zondi, there. In conversation with us, also still in the studio, Webster Mfebe, CEO of the South African Forum for Civil Engineers and Contractors. You can let us in then on your views and your thoughts on 072-110-5584. You can tweet us tonight at Newzroom 405. Let's then talk about this question of the incorporation incorporation of local content, Mr. Mfebe, into the project work and the question of subcontracting. Some have been saying they see really no value add that is being brought on by these subcontractors. In fact, they are seeing them bringing instead delays to the projects instead of being finished in a particular time, one, but also bringing additional costs, so it just becomes a line item that they've got to incorporate into the budgets.
No, it cannot be an additional cost. It is the imperative of the law to empower local communities. Such an attitude is the one that precipitates anger amongst communities. They need to find time to transfer skills, to train those people, to take them on board, to engage them in a meaningful way. And when people feel that they are not engaged meaningfully, for an example, if they are taken as subcontractors, they are just moving around and about the site. They are not giving any meaningful work that will give them skills with which to carry on with their lives in future. Contractors, main contractors, must not find it time-consuming and bothersome to babysit the part of the responsibility of the 30% of local content and participation of people in the projects. It is an imperative. It cannot be an expensive exercise. Yeah. Then if it is expensive, they must not bid for contracts. This country, the majority of the unemployed are the youth and women, yeah, in particular. We are living on a time bomb. I had said as early as 2019 in the publication that I wrote an article, Conquered, Captured and Incapacitated by the Construction Mafia, that the youth unemployment is a time bomb that is going to sink this country and make it unstable. We have a responsibility, both as leaders in the public sector and the private sector, to make sure that South Africa does not become a failed state by ensuring that each one of us in our various spheres, in public and private, yeah, we play the role meaningfully to give meaningful participation to ensure that the last leg of liberation, which is economic liberation, yeah, is achieved in the lifetime of many marginalized and South Africans.
So while you speak of that collaboration, what do you think the role should be then of local government? Because part of the suggestions that are being made to the state around this particular issue is that local government should be playing a more active role in this collaboration between business and communities and the public sector. How can they better play that role instead of just sitting behind and folding their arms?
I 100% agree with you, because when the sphere of local government was established as one of the three spheres of government, it was about bringing democracy and development and services at the doorstep of communities. Local councillors must play a critical role in ensuring that the stakeholders within that community are mobilized. Not only local councillors, for that matter, even the chiefs, the traditional leaders are very important. They must not be ignored. They must form part and parcel of all the interested stakeholders. When the project is coming to an area, it must be announced. People must be told how to access those opportunities. When people feel that they have been given equal access to opportunities, yeah, then beyond opportunities is who wins the tender for that 30% based on the requirements of the job at hand. So local councillors, ward councillors, should and must play that critical role.
And in fact, then, the other question then becomes, what are the current demands that these forums have put on the construction sector? I mean, is that all that they are expecting from you, that you would train the inexperienced contractors and you'd have time and the patience, and of course take it as an imperative, not just a thing, if it's feasible, we'll do it kind of approach, and make sure that you take that part of your obligation seriously. Is that all that they put as a demand? There's no question around protection fees and so on and so forth and other things that in the past have really got nothing to do with the project that businesses have had to pay.
No, there's no demand for protection fees. In fact, as I have said in the Presidential Forum of all voluntary associations in the construction sector and the strategy planning session of the National Police Services, where Minister Gele and the generals were there, I condemned some of our members, colleagues in the industry who pay bribes in order just to get going with the project. It is those people who pay bribes who would most likely not pay attention to the requirements, the contractual and legal requirements of empowering communities, and just say, I give you money, you get away from us. So that is part of the organized crime.
Yeah.
In fact, it is illegal to pay. You are as guilty as the one who extorts, actually, when you encourage extortion, actually.
Right. So, I mean, there are businesses that have said, actually, that we just prefer to put it as a line item. So we pay you and that you go away from the site.
They should be arrested and barred from participating. We cannot be solving this problem. You know, we don't sleep, we toss and turn. The number of people who are losing jobs in their thousands in the construction sector, the lack of work in the construction sector, the demise of many companies losing thousands of workers. It's a sight that is very difficult to behold.
Yeah. Nondaba, welcome back. Thank you very much for coming on again. The question that I wanted to put to you before we close the conversation is this question of business forums and their links to political players. Some are saying Business Forum, Black Business Federation, is acting as a surrogate for certain politicians. So are you still attaching yourself to any movement, radical economic transformation, not in the sense of the ideology, but in the sense of a faction of the ANC?
No, firstly, we lead communities. Communities in their nature, they want transformation by all. So the society that we live in is not transformed. People are not owning any means of production where we lead. We lead rural areas, we lead township areas. People, even when we are bidding, they bid us through price at the very same big companies. So we cannot be reduced into politics. Our struggle is beyond politics, is of a black child that wants an opportunity to participate into an economy, a mainstream economy. Secondly, BPF is not about construction. We are monitoring all those who are doing wrong. There are contractual obligations currently. There are companies whom are pricing with our own brothers and sisters who have companies, but they are not getting opportunities, even if they price with big companies. There are companies who have a contractual obligation to give CPG. Instead, they monopolize everything. Our duty is to also monitor. We are going to become a vanguard as BPF, that the companies do contribute back. So we cannot be reduced into politics. Let me tell you now, the MECs, including KwaZulu-Natal, have been recognized as RET forces. But if things are not going good in government, it is our duty as BPF to raise that even against our own, because those people are supposed to empower. We can't have government that have irregularities. We can't allow irregular contracts to proceed in South Africa because we are robbing taxpayers' money. Yeah. Our duty, therefore, is to make people accountable, either government or politicians. Our society has to start understanding that taxpayers are the ones that are responsible for them.
And finally, the question of the illegal guns that some have access to and have used previously in site invasions and so on and so forth. I suppose that's a matter for the police, but as a forum yourself, I mean, are you prepared to expose those kinds of activities and direct police to the appropriate places?
Who has been arrested? They must show us one person that has been arrested with an illegal gun on site. It's a lie. They must show us. We can't speak without facts here. But however, we will never accept that. Whether it's a conspiracy theory or some visionaries think of that way, but we'll never allow anyone who will come either on site or threaten officials or do anything like illegal. But this thing of saying there are people coming on site with illegal guns, it's a lie. We need facts. However, police are there, and police are part of our communities. Police, if they hear anything, they must take the action. For more than 9 years, we have never received even one report to say there is one person that came on site illegally with a firearm. Yeah. So we must not speak lies here.
Mr. Mfebe, let's wrap it up then and get a sense from you as the sector. What do you see as an impact of this reformed Black Business Federation in the success of the sector, in the investment that needs to go on the ground, but also in certainly the businesses that would be created and jobs that would be created?
Certainly, it creates a requisite environment within which business can strive, jobs can be created, that projects, especially public sector projects, because they come from taxpayers' money, that taxpayers' money is used effectively and with good results, because the intended beneficiary of all public sector projects are the ordinary citizens of this country. So any project that is delayed is a delay of delivery to the very poor people who deserve it the most. So it should be understood by all, including business forums, that this country requires all of us working together, genuinely, honestly, and abiding by the commitments that we make, that we will work within the law and make this country work and not a failed state.
Well, you are business and the forum, speaking with one voice tonight here on In Focus. What are your thoughts? 072-110-5584. Here are some of your thoughts tonight on WhatsApp on the reformation of the construction mafia in KZN. They just hijacked business and control who must get employed. Same thing that destroyed Durban municipal corruption only. Anonymous saying subcontracting is a good way to get skills for new black businesses, but they are big businesses who open new companies to take another piece of the cake, okay? KZN Anonymous, they're saying, Tabo, your guest from the Black Business Council, I suppose you mean Federation there, is very economical with the truth. Almost every construction around Durban is at a standstill because of Amadela Ngokubona, which is operating like Cape Town gangsters. N2 construction in Amanzimtoti and Umgababa halted because of them. Some of your thoughts at tonight. I'm sure plenty more will still be coming through, and we'll take those for you at a later stage. In just a moment.